Hey everyone, my name is Blake Boston. Today we're going to be talking about logical versus physical controls. We're going to be going over the definitions of each, the risks associated, and a couple of examples, and then we're going to compare and contrast at the end. So, logical access controls are safety measures used to protect systems and hardware by using authorization and validation within the infrastructure. It allows a user to access the data they're supposed to perform their duties with. Essentially, it's a safeguard that allows authorized users to stay protected or authorized servers to stay protected from people that aren't supposed to be on there. Physical access controls restrict access to an actual physical space that only authorized personnel can access. And the best types of these physical access controls have good security and good transition when accessed. That's because not only do you want it to have it be secure and have good security, but also you don't want it to be like, a big backhaul anytime anyone wants to get into a certain area. You want to have a key card or a key to a locked door is a real simple example where it's just in and out, but also extremely secure. So now we're going to be talking a little bit more about logical controls. First off, the risks being controlled, which are unauthorized personnel gaining access into sensitive systems, identity theft and hackers, and any kind of malicious former employee who could have just recently been fired or working with black hat hackers. It's essentially anyone that we're trying to keep out of servers. Examples of logical access controls would be passwords, biometrics, which is kind of like this fingerprint scanner that Microsoft has, that a few companies have that they use instead of passwords for employees, and then firewalls between servers. So for physical controls, the risks being controlled would be theft, breaking and entering, and unauthorized personnel trying to gain access to sensitive locations or sensitive information or sensitive assets. A few examples of physical access controls would be door locks, fences, FOB control gates, badge IDs, and security guards. Even a receptionist would be considered a physical control because a receptionist would be keeping someone out of an unauthorized location. A lot of companies are going to use badge IDs just like this, and for a lot of companies, they're not going to use a lot of biometrics. They're still using a lot of passwords for each employee because each employee for a logical control is going to have certain information that they have access to that they need to perform their duty. So similarities and differences between the two. Both logical and physical controls regulate who can and can't view or use resources. Both of them are essentially doing the same thing. The difference is that logical are limiting the access to immaterial resources. They're locking down servers because a government server doesn't want personal servers to mix in. So they're going to have firewalls. They're going to be protecting from viruses. And it's the same thing for a company. Company doesn't want their personal information seen by everybody and doesn't want all of their information even seen by different divisions. So you're going to have passwords. You're going to have biometrics to keep unauthorized people out of their systems. Physical is just limiting access to physical resources or property, assets, that kind of stuff. For logical, if you have poor control, you're going to result in breaches in servers and networks. If you have poor physical control, that's going to result in breaches in buildings and assets. You're probably going to have loss of assets because you don't want people just walking into your building and stealing a computer. You want to have lockdown for that. You want to have guards. You want to have cameras. You want to have receptionists there to make sure that doesn't happen. Or you might just not want people to see sensitive information. You don't want just anyone walking into an aircraft carrier and seeing how you're building your product, that kind of stuff. And then these are my sources. If anyone has any questions, please post them on Blackboard or any comments or clarification on anything. Thanks, guys.